Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I hope this finds you well and prepared to relax. I'd like to thank my returning viewers after watching my first video. But if you're new here, that's not a problem at all. Welcome. To start off this evening's festivities, I'd like to offer you one of my favorite candies, the Werther's Original. They're quite a delightful little pocket candy that, even though people say they are for older people, I say, why the heck not? No, you don't want one tonight? That's perfectly fine. Let me just set these aside. For my returners, I've added more lighting that hopefully you find suitable, and if not, feel free to let me know in the comments below. I'd also like to thank those who have commented already on my first video, for your feedback has truly been helpful. So tonight we're going to be reviewing some of my favorite records in this wonderful briefcase here. Now these are some albums that I love dearly and have listened to over and over again without shame. But without further ado, let's get started. I really do love this briefcase. The way the brown leather looks. It's truly out of its time and matches the vintageness of the records. But opening it up, we're only doing 5 this evening. So these are not in any sort of order or hierarchy. These are records that I've just enjoyed. So the first one is Free For All by the Ted Nugent himself, also known as the Motor City Madman. And this album features some of his hits and him and his iconic flair, such as Dog Eat Dog, Free For All, the title of the album, Together, which features the lead singer of the band Meatloaf, Hammer Down, Writing on the Wall, Light My Way, Street Rats, I Love You So I Told You a Lie, and Turn It Up. And he concludes the back of this album with, to all you mothers who I'll call friends, I'm glad to have you with me, 'cause here we go again. Signed, Ted Nugent. He is truly a character, and I was fortunate enough to see him on his farewell tour. Opening up here, you can see here his flamboyant fashion as usual. And then over here is just the tracks on the album, along with all of the sound crews and the extra special thank yous. As you can see, if you've never listened to him before, you can garner and gain his personality just by his album artwork. This is a terrific album, roughly 40 minutes to an hour in length. All of the songs are primarily short, except for Writing on the Wall, which I believe off the top of my head is around 7 minutes, but it is a worthwhile 7 minutes. if you're wondering, I recognize the name, but none of the songs, one of his most famous songs and is its self-titled album, Stranglehold. Another would be Cat Scratch Fever, which are both terrific albums that I highly encourage you to listen to. If you're looking for a good rockin' time that gives you, I guess, Friday vibes, this is the album for you. Alright, moving on. Just gonna slide this to the bottom. So here we have a really fun album, in my opinion. So most of you, or any of you I guess, would know the band Styx for their hits such as Renegade, Too Much Time on My Hands, their 70s and 80s rock anthems. But they, I guess, switch it up with this album and base it off the Paradise Theater in Chicago. And they wrote songs that depict the happiest memories at the theater when it was alive and well and packed every night, but also the closed and rundown portion. The album artwork is gorgeous, in my opinion, as it really shows the stark contrast that the band attempts and succeeds to portray. So if you open up the album, you can receive a bundle of information. I can't really fit it all into camera here, but here are some photos of the members of the band, and then down below that you have all of the track titles here, and then below that you have the producers and the arrangers, and then all the way down here, all of this fine print, is the lyrics to each of the songs on the album. And I'm gonna try and... This is not good. I don't recommend bending your albums like this. But in the middle there, that little newspaper clipping says, Chicago Star, July 7th, 1958. Not for today, but for all time. Today, workmen finished the demolition of the Paradise Theater located on the city's west side. The theater, one of Chicago's largest and most beautiful, was built in 1928 with the idea that it would last forever. However, because of a changing city and the popularity of television, the Paradise had fallen on financial hard times, leading to its closing and eventual destruction. If that theater is as beautiful as described, it's truly a shame that it had to be torn down. Now, as you've probably been able to tell with this album in the background, which we'll discuss in another video, this album has a heavy amount of horn lines that are just beautiful, especially with the track Lonely People. It is truly a terrific song that really can convey the emotions of the performers that were that lost business due to the theater's closing. And at the bottom here, under the players, Dennis DeYoung, Chuck Panozzo, John Panozzo, Tommy Shaw, and James Young. I'm terribly sorry if I butchered those names. They also have the hang glider horn section down here. It's probably really hard to see on camera, but that includes John Haynor, Mark Olson, Olson, sorry, Bill Simpson, Mike Halpin, Dan Barber, and at the end here it says sax solos by Steve Eisen. Now truly, this is a one-of-a-kind album that the dynamic contrast that they attempt to convey here is definitely felt through the A and B sides of the album. This is one I truly recommend if you're starting to get into vinyl records. Alright, moving on. Do the same thing that we did with Ted Nugent. Just, oh, sorry. Didn't mean to bump you there. Just slide around down, just a little bit. Like I said, moving on. This might be one of my favorite albums of all time. It's really up there. So this album is self-titled, called Chase, as you can see up there. And it's interesting to say the least in a good way. So, the person who founded the band, surprisingly, was not a guitar player, a bass player, a drummer, a singer. He was a lead trumpet player. And he decided that he wanted to combine his two favorite genres, jazz and hard rock, and in doing so created this beautiful harmony that just truly is amazing. So as we're flipping over here, so here's photos of the band, and as you can see in the middle here, that's good old Bill Chase. And it has a very long, I guess, sort of biography on the back that I won't read. Maybe if you can find this out in the wild somewhere, that might entice you. Or I'm sure that there's like a transcription of it somewhere. But the tracks for this one, side one starts with Open Up Wide, then Living in Heat, then Hello Groceries, followed by Handbags and Glad Rags, and the closer for side one is Get It On. Now side two is a little interesting. Side two starts with Boys and Girls Together, and then ends with Invitation to a River, which I believe off the top of my head is roughly 11.5 minutes long. But when listening to on Spotify, you don't get to see like how it's split up and designated in here. So apparently there's an A, a B, a C, a D, and an E section in the song. Now, I've listened to the song quite a bit, and by reading this, it makes perfect sense. So, the A section reads, Two minds meet. B reads, stay. C reads, painted, sad. D reads, reflections. And E closes out the song with river. It's truly a wonderful song. It is mind-boggling how good this band is and how unheard they are. Truly, it's something wonderful. So down here in personnel, you have the band founder, Bill Chase. Then you have, who's the lead trumpet player. Then you have Ted Piercefield. I did not know that he played both trumpet and sang in the band. That's really neat. So he played trumpet and did vocals. Then there was Alan Ware, who played trumpet. Then Jerry Von Blair, I'm sorry if I screw all these names up, guys, who played trumpet and sang. Then you had Phil Porter on the keyboards, Dennis Johnson on bass and vocals, Angel South, that's a neat name, on guitar and vocals, Jay Burrid on percussion, and Terry Richards on lead vocal. Okay, that's interesting. I guess I've never truly examined, the integral roles of each of the band members. So we're gonna just go down the list, and I'm gonna try and rename these guys, and kind of point out their pictures for you. So, Jay Von Blair is right here. He's played trumpet and sang. Then you had Phil Porter, who was on the keyboards. Then you had, Terry Richards. Then you had, Dennis Johnson right here. Man, these beards are wild. I love it. Then, of course, Bill Chase in the middle there. And then you have, sorry guys, Alan Ware. Then you have Ted Piercefield. And you have Jerry Von Blair. Oh, I'm sorry, I misread his name. Jay Burrid, who is this guy up here. My apologies. And then Angel South right here, which is a guitar player. That's very interesting. But overall, it's a terrific album, and I highly recommend listening. A fun fact about this band: this is their first ever album, which is probably why it's self-titled. But the opening track of side one is Open Up Wide, as you can see there. But the closing track of their third and last album is Close Up Tight. Now, I'm sure they would have produced many more albums in their heyday, but either the majority or all of the band, including the lead trumpet player, died in a plane crash, which is very upsetting, but it's history, I guess. Moving on. Sorry. I'm going to try and keep this happy and light and positive. Again, one of my absolute favorite albums, and one of my favorite singers of all time. I love his voice. Gordon Lightfoot. Oh. He's from Canada, and my gosh, voice is as smooth as, I guess, up there it would be maple syrup. But just, wonderful. So this is his album, Sundown. And these are in order of I guess, appearance. But under each song it has, I guess, who all did what. So we'll go through the titles of the songs. So High and Dry, Too Late for Praying, Seven Island Suite, Carefree Highway, Sundown, The List, Is There Anyone Home, The Watchman's Gone, Somewhere USA, and Circle of Steel. Now, out of this whole album, I do have my favorites. Like Carefree Highway is a very wonderful summer song. So is Sundown. Too Late for Praying will really pull on your heartstrings a little bit there. The Watchman's Gone is really good. Somewhere USA, highly recommend. And Circle of Steel. And just, he is an astonishing singer-songwriter who plays guitar, and he's just wonderful. He died not too long ago, sadly, but his legacy still lives on here. I highly recommend, if you haven't yet, go listen to the title of the song, the title of the album, or the title song, I guess, Sundown. It's truly a great track that will hopefully bring you peace and relaxation like this video. Alright, moving on to our last, I keep bumping you, I'm so sorry. Moving on to, oh, and there I go again. Let's try this again, 3 times the charm. Moving on to our last album of the evening. By far, I guess, the coolest. And you can faintly see this in the, you can faintly see this in my intro in the video off to the side here when I'm doing the different generations of music players, which if you want me to talk about that or do more videos on the items in my intro, my gosh, the comment section's there for a reason. Please let me know your thoughts. But like I said, moving on to our last album of the evening, we have the one, the only Blues Brothers. Now, this is probably because I'm a horn player and that I'm a very old soul, but I cannot get enough of the Blues Brothers. Oh my gosh. I just came back from a rock concert seeing Blues Traveler, who is in the second Blues Brothers movie, and just, this is their debut album, Briefcase Full of Blues. It's just such a good album that oozes cool, but also fun. If you have yet to listen to this, please do, and try not listen, at least on Spotify from my experience. That I love Spotify, but like if you listen to like the record or even the cassette tape of this, excuse me, which I both have, Spotify cuts it up in the way that you don't hear the transitions, if that makes any sense. Like, instead of the album just running all together, it cuts the songs up, and I don't really care for that because it takes out the personality, I guess. And fun fact, this was recorded as a because Dan Aykroyd and Jim Belushi were both members of the Saturday Night Live cast. Most of these members here in this band were part of the Saturday Night Live band, like Lulu Marini and where is he at? Alan Rubin. But this was recorded for a Steve Martin comedy, stand-up comedy act, and they opened for him, which is kind of a neat piece of trivia. But so we'll start with the charts, or the charts in the album. So here you have Hey Bartender, Messin' with the Kid, Almost, Rubber Biscuit, Shotgun Blues. That's all side 1, and side 2 includes Groove Me, I Don't Know, Soul Man, which was one of their giant chart toppers, B-Movie Boxcar Blues, and Flip, Flop, and Fly. Now, it's not listed on here, but I believe the song is I Can't Get Started. I'll have to, in another video, talk about it. But they always start and end their shows with the same iconic song. I'd sing it for you, but you don't want to hear that. I'm a trumpet player, not a choir kid. So, some of the members of the band, I'm going to try and point them out the best that I can. So Joliet Jake Blues, which is Jim Belushi, and Elwood Blues, which is Dan Aykroyd, and Jim Belushi is on lead vocal, and Elwood is on harmonica for most of the harmonica and bass parts. Then you have Paul Schaefer, who I believe is I think right there, if not right there. And you have Steve Cropper, who is right there. Then Duck Dunn, or Donald Duck Dunn, and Matt Guitar Murphy's right there. Then Steve Jordan. Not sure who Steve Jordan is here in the mix. I believe that's Steve Jordan. Then you have, let's see here, Lou Marini, who was the lead sax player for Saturday Night Live at the time. Then you have Alan, Mr. Fabulous Rubin, who was the trumpet player. Tom Scott, I think that's Tom Scott. Yeah. And then Tom Bones Malone, who, listen to this, Tom Bones Malone played for the band tenor sax, baritone sax, trombone, and trumpet. Now, if you ever played a brass instrument, normally trumpet players can double on like a tuba or a euphonium because the mouthpiece is so big and the embouchure is completely different. Whereas going from trombone to trumpet or vice versa, they're so similar that it's a very difficult, impressive task. And if you want me to talk more about like brass instruments and whatnot, to my knowledge, oh, and there goes the lights. Let me know. And then horns were arranged by Tom Malone. And it just lists all of the background vocals and whatnot. This is overall just a really grooving album that I highly, highly, highly recommend that if you've never listened to, you've gotta take a ride down Blues Lane with the Blues Brothers. Okay, we're just gonna put this back where it was. Try not bump you this time. Look at that. Like a glove. I would like to thank you for joining me on this wonderful evening, examining all of these truly wonderful albums. I'm sorry about the light going out. We'll try and get that fixed. Please feel free to like, comment, even subscribe if you'd like. I'm a very new channel, and I really enjoy making these types of videos, especially talking about music. I love music, and if there's any way that I can share that with the world, I'd like to do so. So please, get a good night's sleep, take care, relax, and I will hopefully see you in the next video. Good night.